Boom, man. We're live. Yes, sir. What up? What up? What up? It's the Sports Roundtable, and we are live in our virtual studios. I would say, you know, overlook. We overlooking everywhere. How about that? We overlooking everywhere, man, and just waiting on some folks to get on in here and so we can get this thing started. Big homie.
What's up?
First of all, I'm your main man, HO from Bankhead, as you can see on the screen. And that's my main guy, the sports superhero. What's going on, bro?
What's up, big homie? What's good with you this week, baby?
Man, all is well, bro. First of all,
That's
let me start off this show by giving Carolyn Williams, D. Will's wife, some prayers, and I want the tenants to go ahead and let's pray together because she's going through a rough time, Hannah. You know that. You know, I hate to mention that C word, which you are a survivor of, and she's going through a tough time, but God is good, and she's gonna make it out. D. Will is exactly where he's supposed to be, right by her side, and he's gonna be out probably for the next couple of weeks, but he's right where he's supposed to be, rocking with his wife and holding her hand as they go through the health struggle of what she's going through. So first of all, I want to give a shout out to that. Secondly, we got some new listeners chiming in this week, man, and we can't help but to thank them for coming on and checking out Sports Roundtable and the SRT crew. You already know. And Cuz told me I need to bite off Smitty. We got to get these we got to get these likes in the subscriptions through the YouTube universe. So make sure you like the channel, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit the notification bell to make sure you know when we go live. We go live every Wednesday, so that shouldn't affect anything. But we are live each and every Wednesday, and that's about all I got for my week. What about
yeah, I
yours?
mean, hey man, my week been the same. Get up, get at that real workhouse job, do what I gotta do. We gotta go ahead and get them subscribers up, baby, so we can do this thing. But
Yeah, man, we got to get them up.
no doubt. But other than that, man, we had a little drama at the house here, man. Had a flood. We we had some things going, but luckily it didn't damage too much. We got a little work we got to get done here, but you know, it is what it is, man. Could have been worse. Could have been worse.
Oh, well, that's good. It didn't mess up. It didn't mess up the man cave, did it?
No, man, K kind of held his own, so we're pretty good there. But one thing you did mention, Harold, and man, I do
Well,
want
I
to
see you
also.
got Kobe looking out for you behind you, so
Oh yeah, well, Kobe always over my
I see you
shoulder.
got
Hey,
Kobe.
you know it, Kobe,
Yeah, he
Magic,
looking out
Mike,
for
they
you,
doing
so
their thing.
he ain't gonna let that happen. Yeah,
That's right.
I see.
But I want to shout out D. Will and his wife, Harold, man. Strength through this time, man. I kind of know some things that they're going through. I've personally felt them. You kind of mentioned that. So, you know, I know the struggles, and I know they're going to, you know, with the right thing, everything going well for them, they're going to come through this thing strong. So prayers and SRT love to our younger brother, D. Will, and his family, man.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. All right, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and throw you one. Tell me what you give me your thoughts on this weekend sports.
Oh man, this week was big. We had big football games. We learned a little bit about some teams. Learned a little bit about the Cowboys, and especially let's talk about the Dolphins right now, because to me, you know, in the beginning they had been looked upon as it had been stated, they were the best team in the league. You know, that went on for a few weeks. But sometimes you can be a front runner and look the part, but once a bullet comes into the neighborhood, Debo came and took your bite. So, you know, two times that they've had to stand up against teams that possibly, you know, will go have deep runs into this playoff thing. They've fallen on their face. So, man, you look at the Dolphins. What are they? Are we really looking at a paper champion, man? And can Tua really lead a team if all isn't right? You know, and if they aren't front running, you know, it's fine to have so much speed and all that, but football is a physical game. We both know that, you know, and
Yeah.
so when you get out physical and people make tackles and you're trying to make plays. You saw that the biggest play might have been right before, halftime when Tyreek Hill fumbled the ball and Kansas City was able to pick it up and go back about 60 yards or so for a touchdown. That was a 14 to 10-point swing.
I think that was maybe 21-0 at that
point,
right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's a 14, at least a 10-point swing, because you possibly could have got a field goal, or a touchdown, and you look up in Kansas City now, scores another one. So that gap is either 10 to 14 more onto the 14 they already had. So that 21-point lead was really the turning point. That touchdown was the turning point of the game because Kansas City didn't score again after the half, if you remember.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are things you kind of peep, man. It's starting to shake out. We're starting to see some teams step up and turn this thing around. We see some teams falling on their faces.
Does that play by Miami this week? Does that kind of disrupt your top 5 in the NFL?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. It didn't disrupt it, but it kind of solidified some of the things that I had in my mind going into it. I was a little bit skeptical about the Dolphins, and they kind of showed some weaknesses.
All right. So for me, let me go ahead and get some flowers out real quick.
Let me hear you do some gardening then. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Ron Washington, man. He just been named new manager for the LA Angels. He was the Braves third base coach, infield defensive extraordinaire. He meant so much to this organization that it's countless things that you could possibly thank him for. But to you, big homie, I'm just gonna ask: is he going into a situation where he just took the first thing smoking, or was you think Houston was a better opportunity because he going into a situation where Shohei is about to leave and they don't have the pitching? Mike Trout is not Mike Trout anymore. So is he going into a situation where that the team is just not suited or set up for him to come in and just really use his strategy, his NL experience strategy, or you think Houston probably was the best situation for him?
Well, we know Houston would have been the best situation, but you know what? The Angels are just looking for a grenade coach, somebody to fall on that grenade that's about to blow up, because Shohei will be out of there, and then, will Trout leave and try to tag along with somebody to try to finally win a title, where they move him, try to get something for him, because of the name that he has, he might have a little cachet left. But, these type of situations, they just try to find, someone to manage this team through some of the tough times. This is, like I said, a grenade job. He just going in there to fall on it to keep as much damage down as he can. The Angels are not going to win anything. We hadn't seen them win. They've had two of the top players in Major League Baseball and haven't been able to build around them. Apparently, the farm system isn't on par, so they're not bringing up young talent through the organization. So he's just a stopgap, until they get the next drawing card. They had, these two players as their drawing card for the last few years where they could print a little money. But right now they're going to lose. The attendance is going to wane. Everything's going to happen in that respect. So Ron Washington he's just a stopgap coach. That's all I see it as.
There you go, Han.
That's it, baby. That's all it is. You're falling on the grenade.
Yeah. Also, to stay in the baseball thing, just to catch the people up, Craig Counsell left Milwaukee to go over to the rival in the Chicago Cubs. Now, Counsell is solidified himself as one of the better managers in the National League since he came into the Milwaukee job, and he's shown it. I think they went to the playoff at least 5 times out of. They've been to the playoffs a lot. Let's just say that.
Okay.
And he leaves Milwaukee to go over to the Cubs. I mean, is that sort of like illegal recruiting, or what do you think about that? As far as just he already has a job, but it's just he just up and leaves one job to go to the. I'm talking about in the division.
Yeah. Well, it's not about loyalty, man. It's about, can you better yourself? Maybe he feels like this is a better opportunity. I don't know. I have no idea, big homie. I don't understand it. Is it a lateral move? You the baseball guy. Is that a better organization that he's going to when you look at it?
It's a more legendary organization, I can tell you that. They missed the playoffs this year because of Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he can take his coaching talents and strategies over to the Cubs and push them over the hump. Maybe they, and quiet as it kept, Bob shot me a little text earlier and said, don't be surprised if David Ross ends up in Atlanta as a third base coach, former manager for the Chicago Cubs.
Okay.
So, yeah, look like we getting strong in here tonight. So let me go ahead and start this. Go ahead and get these real shots. So it's time for us to jump into our hot news. The hot news sponsored by Big Easy Grill, 1193 Collier Road, Atlanta, Georgia. Big Easy Grill. It is the best Louisiana seafood in town. Going over to the Big Easy Grill, let them know SRT Sports Roundtable sent you. Get you 10% off any meal, $25 or more. All right, Han. In the hot news, I got in here. On Tuesday around this time, this time frame, the college football ranking comes out, and it came out again last night. Are you surprised and shocked? It's two-part question. You surprised and shocked that it pretty much stayed the same? And who's on the outside? Which one-loss team on the outside looking in can sneak into this four?
Well, I'm not really shocked that they didn't. Maybe a little fluctuation might have happened because Ohio State had to struggle with Rutgers early, but they turned it up and made it look better. A lot of people don't even know that was a close game and Rutgers was winning at one time. So the final score dictates that they still blew Rutgers out. So Ohio State kind of played down to the competition and didn't move. Florida State, took care of business. Michigan, the off-field problems probably have a lot to do with why they probably stayed at 3. And Georgia just keeps being Georgia, man. So now, as a whole, not really surprised it stayed there. It could have been a little fluctuation. As far as outside looking in, I keep saying it. I'll keep saying it week after week until I'm proven wrong. I think Oregon is a team that's kind of hanging around the chicken coop, waiting to see if somebody's going to straggle out and they're going to move right in, because I still think that they're going to be the team to get in out of the Pac-12 if it comes down to them in Washington, because if they play again, I think they're going to beat Washington. The other team that I think people need to start looking at, and I know D-Will would love this, but you got to start looking at the Alabama Crimson Tide, man. Saban is doing an outstanding job. He gets, that moniker of, oh yeah, well, Saban being Saban, but I think he's doing a great job with this team, because after the early loss to Texas, I really looked at it and said they didn't have a shot, but their defense is getting better and he just knows how to win. He's playing with a quarterback that has limitations, but they continue to put up points. Now, they did play against a shadow defense this past week, because LSU doesn't play defense, and this SEC is the SEC that I'm really not accustomed to see teams like LSU not play strong defense. But just being real about it, Bama is starting to look like they have a shot, to be honest with you. I mean, more than a shot, they look like a good football team.
Well, Han, we got one of our new listeners. She rolling tide
I
already.
see a roll tide, baby. I see it.
Yeah. So out of Oregon and Alabama, if they both got one loss, but they win their conference championship, who you picking?
Man,
That's a tough one.
it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough because for Bama to get in, they're gonna have to beat Georgia. And man, that in itself is gonna be defeat. I think if they beat Georgia, they gotta get in. And it's a little contradictory from what I said that I thought Oregon would get in over them, but the way Georgia's playing and Georgia gets that, that love of now, 20 in a row now, 19 and 20 games in a row, hadn't lost.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yeah.
Bama's able to beat them, they deserve it. They deserve to get in.
Okay. Ramona said, "Don't slip on them. Don't slip on the Alabama boy."
No, it's 26
you
in a
said
row. I stand
26 in a
corrected.
row.
Go ahead, man. I
Stand
appreciate that. Yeah, I knew it was high. That's awesome, man.
There you go. Don't sleep on the Alabama boy.
No, you can't sleep on them because they play
Now,
defense.
Marlon said that they got one landmine left, and that's Auburn. Do you hold true to that? You
Auburn
believe in
just,
Auburn?
and normally that game, no matter what the record is, it's always a tough game. But I don't see it this year. Just being honest, and I could be wrong because that's an in-state rivalry that they wait 365, to play every year. But Auburn just is horrible at quarterback. Just being real. Peyton, whatever his name is, he's bad. And they have a running quarterback that's behind him who's not very good either. He can't throw the football. And I think Saban is going to take that away from him. I just think Bama is much more complete. They're not a complete team, but they're more complete than Auburn. So I don't see it being a close game. I think Bama walks away at the end of probably middle of the third, early fourth quarter, and I think it pretty much Bama walks on in with that one. So I don't see it. I think they get past Auburn pretty easily.
Shout out to Dez. What's up, Dez? Dez finally made it through to the shot tonight, and he calling out them dogs, man. So let's go ahead and talk about them. Let's go ahead and talk about them Bulldogs. Let's go ahead and talk about the Bulldogs and how they have seemingly, Mike Bobo has seemingly got this thing back going. He's using they done beat Florida and Missouri without Brock Bowers. Now this week they coming up on the Ole Miss team who can put up points. But Georgia is just, to me, far and away, they have figured this thing out. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it over to you and say what has made them figure it out. Is it Carson Beck finally getting used to the speed of the game after sitting out for a couple of years and not playing football, or is it Mike Bobo finally understanding, getting back in the SEC? Because he was at Colorado State for 3 years and he was outside of the SEC. So right. Did he have to get adjusted to play calling back in the SEC again? What do you think?
I don't know if it's play calling back in the SEC. Maybe play calling for this quarterback.
Okay. Yeah. There you go.
And I think early in the year they, I wasn't real, high on this quarterback, to be honest with you, but Beck he's kind of winning me over, man. I've seen him make plays now that I didn't think he was capable of making. I didn't think he was capable of throwing the ball down the field as accurate as he is. I didn't think he had the makeup to be the quarterback that he's shown. And true enough, when you have talent around you, I think the transfers that they have, the kid they got from Missouri is starting to step up and become a weapon for them. They have a backfield that consists of 2 to 3 good running backs. They're kind of deep, when you look at everywhere. And then the defense was in itself, man, just they're aggressive, they're strong. I thought that was going to be kind of the Achilles heel because of all the people that they had lost. in the last few years that are now playing for the Philadelphia Eagles and all over the NFL really. But I didn't think that they would be as strong, and they've steadily gotten more and more, I guess, accustomed to being in big games, and so these smaller games don't bother them. They just roll, and they sometimes play to the level of competition. But as I said, to me, this looks like Alabama all over again. Kirby has taken that blueprint of what he learned or whatever he did down there in Bama and Tuscaloosa, and he brought it to Athens, man, and it just looks like Alabama to me. He looks like vintage Alabama football. And people in Georgia might not want to hear that, but that's what I see.
Do you subscribe to what Bob just said in the chat right here?
Yeah, more. I mean, wow. I don't want to call him just a system quarterback because I've seen some of the great throws he's made. He's made some plays. Now he's not going to do what Stetson Bennett did, to where if a play breaks down, he's able to use his legs as much to maybe take it to the house or whatever. But I did see him scramble, keep some drives alive, make some plays with his legs. So I got to give him props for what I've seen him do. And maybe he is a prototypical system quarterback. We'll see. But as I stated, I've seen him make some plays with his legs also. And that's what you want. You want a quarterback that when everything isn't perfect, keep a drive alive, make a play. Can you hear me, Dak Prescott? Make a play when it's crucial. Mm-hmm. So, I've seen him do that.
Agreed. All right, big homie. Let's go ahead and switch gears, and let's jump to college basketball season. The season is upon us. This is where I'm gonna just be honest. This is where I jump off the Falcon bandwagon and jump on my Duke bandwagon. So I can care less what the Falcons do at this point moving forward, because all of my eggs are going right into Durham, North Carolina at this particular point, with what they got coming in next year, what they got doing things right now. They got a big game this week against Arizona, playing the Wildcats early. Just want to get your thoughts on college basketball being back, and are you gonna be a participant other than just in March?
Yeah, but I'll be learning on the fly, big homie, because like I said, college basketball now is not like it was when I was such a big NCAA college basketball fan, because you knew what was coming back the next year. You kind of had a sense of who was going to be the teams in the conferences to win. I have no clue on who these kids are. It's going to take me probably about a week or two to get involved, to get accustomed to who I think may have some legs to be standing tall. So I'm going to rely on you a lot early, you and D. Will, to come on, tell me about these kids that have been AAU phenomenons and now they are at the next level, because I know a lot of them probably be one and dones, and we'll see where they go from there. But like I said, I'll be relying on you and D. Will with this.
All right, you still with me?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, now I do. So I needed to call. I needed to call Deshaun Tate the other night because Michigan State took an L early. I needed to call him to console him. I can't remember who they lost to, but
don't they have a big one with Kansas coming up?
Yeah, they do got.
I think it's
Look at Maurice. He already had now Duke. I got another new listener. She might not be a new listener for long with these kind of comments.
It's USC. The Tar Heels showing up, boy.
Hey, man. Marla say the Izzo ball is wearing off in Michigan, in the state of Michigan. They going through a lot up there in that state, bro. So I don't know what, but listen, I'm gonna tell you this: college basketball is gonna once again be one of those things in March where you're gonna see a team that hit the transfer portal. They got 4 and 5 year seniors on the team that's going to prevail in March. I think we are now turning the page about these young 5-star guys coming in and being able to play all these games into March and expecting them to really pull it off. I think the last team that was able to do what they needed to do that young was a was a young team. Who was that? Oh, the Kentucky team, 2012. Anthony Davis and all them.
Yeah.
Lose, but they did eventually lost to Wisconsin in the final four. So it's not it's not going to be your typical brand of basketball hand, and you just wanted to go ahead and be up front with you on that. It's going to be a lot of young guys that's trying to figure this college thing out, and it's going to be a learning curve for sure, for sure.
Well, how much will the transfer portal come into effect? Because I'm sure there have been some movement of some players that could possibly go in and help some of these other programs. So, who have you seen that's in the portal that's going to come out and maybe turn some
Well,
programs?
the Hunter Dickinson left Michigan and he transferred to Kansas. So Kansas definitely, they're the number one team right now. So Kansas definitely is a team that you can look at to say, okay, now that's a move that could prevail Kansas into a contender right off the bat. Look out for Creighton. Look out for Creighton. Creighton is pretty deep with seniors as well. So I think Creighton is going to be the sleeper of all. You know how we have, in college football, we had the UCFs and
Mm-hmm.
the Houston at one point and things of that nature.
Right.
In college basketball, watch out for Creighton. And they got a very good coach as well. But Creighton is going to be a team that you're not gonna really pay attention to until all of a sudden you go say, well, how did they get ranked so high? They got a good team, man. So Creighton is a team that you can look at and say, well, let's just say if you want to put some fruit cups on that on the Creighton team that can eventually be a top 5 team, then look out for Creighton.
Okay. Now that's what I'll be looking for is little edges when I play a lot of prize picks anyway. But we'll still look for somebody with some
Yeah.
little
Yeah,
nuggets.
I think Marlon put something up for you right there, and and I think that's what you ride with. What he just put in the chat there.
Which Georgia Tech could relive some of the days of the 90s. It's not so much just that I would like to see. The only way you can know what's going to happen is have some kind of continuity. And I don't think that we get that anymore with these schools. And now, especially with, this, like we just got through talking about the portal, it's really no way of knowing who might be where year to year. So, the interest I'm sure will be there because now you have the gambling aspect of it. So people definitely will be paying attention, but I don't know if they're paying attention so much for the sport or for the gambling, aspect of it.
Yeah. But it's here. College football, college basketball is here. So definitely and I think what is that? Purdue still got the 7'5" kid, Zach Edey. So they gonna get a lot of definitely going to get a lot about TV time with Zach Edey on board because
So are
everybody wants to
you?
see what's going on with him, especially.
I wasn't impressed with the times I saw him last year. Are you impressed with him?
No, especially after watching kid for the Spurs, Wembanyama, being at 7'5" and as fluid as he moves, he just kind of he throws everything off with the way he moves, the way he can glide and get to his spots, and then you see a big stiff 7'5" kid that can barely move out the paint. It kind of
Yeah,
it kind of throws you off a bit. So
they're showing
yeah,
Wemby right now in the NBA, man, and he's just unreal, man. Just watching him move, it's like I think Ralph Sampson could move decently. I don't know if a lot of people that are tuned in does really know or watch Ralph when he was at Virginia. But he had some wing skills. They tried to play him at forward a little bit, and he had this height, but he was nowhere near what Wembanyama. And the game was different at that time, so they didn't allow Ralph to do things like what Wembanyama is doing. I think Ralph had some of those skills though. But this dude, man, is like watching. I mean, he's an alien, man. It's ridiculous. I mean, I watched him in that 38-point game the other night, and I was sitting in here by myself, and I'm looking around for people to talk to. Like, are y'all seeing what I'm saying? It was ridiculous, man. This dude is something serious. And coming into the NBA, I thought in the summer league, and I mentioned this to you earlier. In the summer league, he looked like he was, and I know we're supposed to be talking college basketball, but I'm going to talk about things that I know right now. And just watching him, because you brought Wemby up. Just watching him in the summer league, he looked like, the game, like he was in awe a little bit. But man, after this first 2-3 weeks of the season, he like, man, welcome to my playground. And he out here taking people to the rack, blocking their shot, dancing on them, putting his arm around KD like he's his little brother. I mean, he has no fear, man, and he's balling. And I'm loving it. I just it's something we've never seen, man. A dude that big doing it like that. And I know Shaq was saying Bobo. We have seen things like Bobo. Ain't the same. It's like
it ain't.
It ain't the same. It's like Buffalo and New York. They're the same state, but they ain't the same. New York different from Buffalo, and Wemby different from Bobo. So it ain't the same. Yeah.
Oh man. So Marlon said that Wemby didn't open up his bag during summer league, so he kind of kept everything.
Yeah, I don't even think. Yeah, I don't think he had gone trick or treating yet. Wasn't no candy in the bag. He was. I'm telling you, he was in awe. You could see it. He wasn't moving like this, anything. And I hear what you're saying, maybe, but I just think he wasn't. I don't know. He just looked like it was a little big for him at first. And like my man said, what's my man always talking about trash? Bubba Dub. And Bubba Dub was saying, he had them Bambi legs. He looked like a deer. His legs looked shaky. But man, not anymore. And they better be the thing to be worried about, big homie. This is probably as low as he's gonna be. And he put up 38 in the first few games. Think about when he gets stronger and he understands how the NBA game works. What you gonna do with it? Because you talk about, well, he just so little. Well, he can step out at the 3 and shoot it. They said the same thing about KD. And what does KD do? He kill it. And Wemby does the same thing now, bigger. And he can shoot it. He can post you a little bit. He's not going to play the bigs like, people like Joker and whoever can play. But how many back to the basket big guys are there? You understand what I'm saying? And then the thing about it, if you get past Wemby, you got to be looking over your back because he's coming now to block it. So I don't know what to do. One step from the key, he's at the rim. What you going to do? You can't finish. Or you're looking over your shoulder to finish. It's going to be a hard finish. So, like I said, man, we haven't seen anything like this dude.
Yeah, I agree. And make sure you keep your ears peeled to that, because in our segment, your thought and what you learned and what you now know, uh, just remember him in that. So I got some. I
You
got
got
something
some
for that.
for us. There you go.
Yeah, I got something for that
A
for
little
sure.
foreshadowing.
Yeah, a little foreshadowing. All right, last on the list before E-Dub come on. Since we're talking basketball, hand, we got to talk about the trade that James Harden trade. He finally gets his way, finally gets out of his team, going over to the Clippers. And he had his first game the other night. Your thoughts on him, the trade, and his first game?
Big homie, I wrote down, I don't think this is going to end well. I think, when he came out and said he is the system, okay, how do you say that and you're going on into a team that has Hall of Famers already on the system, on the squad. So if you're the system and you couldn't deal with one superstar athlete on the team in Embiid, what are you going to do now when you go into the locker room and there's Kawhi Leonard sitting there, there's Paul George sitting there, there's Russell Westbrook sitting there, and you got guys that have been contributors on the team that now probably going to have to take a lesser role. I just don't see this ending well. I think it's going to be a problem. And as we saw in the first game when he was on the floor, the plus minus was negative 18. He was the leading scorer, and you were down 20-something points. So I don't think this is going to work. He can do all he do, but if you're minus 18 in the lineup, it's something wrong. When you're on the floor, the team that you're playing is 18 points better. Last I heard, Big Home, they keep score. So if they keep scoring, you making them 18 down, you're gonna lose. But it's early, and then you hear all the people that make excuses say, well, it's gonna take 20 games. We'll see. After 20 games, come talk to me. Okay. If that's what you want to say, that's fine. But I'm coming out now and I'm stating it right now. I don't see it anywhere. It was the same thing last year when I saw Westbrook go to the Lakers. Didn't see it was going to happen and help them in any way. And I don't see how James Harden helps you. He forces his way out of everywhere. He's played with nothing but Hall of Famers. He gets on any team he wants to, and it still doesn't work. So I'm in the camp of this ain't gonna work. Said Kawhi gonna start taking PTO. He may.
This ain't gonna work.
This ain't gonna work. I don't see it working. I'm going out on a limb. No, I don't see it.
Now, we was talking earlier about legacy, about his legacy, and go ahead and expound on what you was explaining to me about his legacy and how this will put a little damp on it.
Well, yeah, it's definitely going to put a damper on some things. Especially, we look at Hall of Fame stuff. Yeah, in the NBA, he's going to get in the Hall of Fame. But when people look at his career, he's going to probably, if he does win a title, he'll probably go to a team and latch on and win one of those, well, I got a title. Oh, by the way, not because he was a focal point. I don't believe that'll happen. So in the long run, yeah, he'll be looked upon as, oh, he was a great scorer. He could do this. He was an MVP. So in that respect, yeah, his legacy won't be too much damage. But all the off court, all the stuff forcing his way out, tearing up teams, being disgruntled everywhere, the things that he's come out and said against the organization, what he said against Morey, Del Murray or whatever, writers and people people that with the pen, people that have access to talk about your career, believe me, that's going to come into play. And he's going to be looked upon as a malcontent and a player that was all about himself, not a winner. That's just where it is. Whether that's true or not, that's what's going to be said.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the more this happens, the more the NBA continues to lose their leverage on having the ownership, being because right now the players run the league. This is a players' league, and it shows. Anytime you can force your way out of any situation and all that, yeah, it's showing that it's a players' league. And I mean, more than anything, I wasn't so thrown off about, or I wasn't so thrown off about the trade. What I looked at is how much of the NBA is going to continue to allow these type things to happen. I mean, because you remember at one point the NBA had full control over the NBA because you remember the NBA vetoed the Chris Paul to the Lakers. That showed you how much control the NBA had over the players. But now nowadays, and I'm not banking on LeBron, but ever since LeBron got into the league and he started to move around and do kind of things that he wanted to do, they kind of opened the floodgates open, man, to players having a whole lot of control of where they wanted to play, what they wanted to do, and things of that nature. And I
Yeah.
think Bob here is talking about that.
Yeah.
In this,
The thing that happened though is there was a lot of money influxed into the NBA at one time, and a lot of contracts got out of control. People that weren't even big time players were making, money that we were like, how in the world is he making way more than a player like Steph or whatever? But the real reason that this thing get out of control is because David Stern wasn't the commissioner anymore. And let's just be real. David Stern wouldn't have it, and he you talk about the NBA having control on where players went. Yeah, David Stern was the one that stopped Chris Paul from going to the Lakers, if you recall. He stopped that because at that time the Hornets didn't have ownership. So he stepped in and vetoed that whole trade. It had already gone down. And he said, no, 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 and reversed it. But there would have been a lot of things different had David Stern been still in charge. I maybe I don't know 100% that I can say this, but I feel 90 to 95% sure that James Harden wouldn't have been able to force his way out of all these situations. He wouldn't have it because, for one thing, David Stern would have been protecting the image of the NBA. And what we got to worry about is that, like I said, a lot of people defend the players, and I'm a players guy to an extent. But when we look at it, it's all about the league is why they're making this money. And if you continue to get the league to look in a bad light, people are going to stop going. You still got to have people's eyes on it. Sponsorship got to be there. The drawing card right now is because there's gambling on it all the time. But if you continue to make the product unwatchable the way it was before Bird and Magic came along, and maybe people in this time don't remember, and I'll say it again, where the games were tape delayed. We're talking about the championship games, because there was no interest in the NBA. But you could turn people against your product if you keep having things like what happens with Harden. They could turn against it real quick. Because there's a lot of times now, if you talk to the right people, they'll say, I don't even watch the NBA. It don't interest me. I don't care nothing about it because of the element that they feel is involved in the NBA. So you better be careful. You don't want to kill it.
Let's talk about this before. I go eat Dub here. Yeah, we'll say that we'll go put a pin in what LeBron had to say about him joining the Heat and how all that. And I'm pretty sure you got a little something to say about that.
Oh yeah.
All right, man. That's going to end our hot news. And right about now, we're about to go ahead and jump into some more basketball because our guy just showed up. Yes, sir. He camera ready. As I told him in the email, go ahead and get camera ready. And he about to join us and talk about a little about the Atlanta Hawks as we get E-Dub in here talk about the Atlanta Hawks with our Atlanta Hawks report. What's going on, E-Dub? What's going on, bro?
What's good, crew? How you feeling?
What's up, E-Dub?
Good to
Man,
see
all
y'all,
is
brothers.
well, man.
All is well.
A different thing for you, man. A lot of listeners was trying to figure out, well, he'll call in, this and that, and now you're on video, so now we can verify that you are actually a real person. So there we go, because they thought you was AI. They thought you was AI at first. They said SRT got that AI going on. I'm like, nah, E-Dub is a real guy. So, man, first of all, let's go ahead and talk about the Atlanta Hawks. This is why you're here. The Atlanta Hawks jumped off to an 0-2 start. They win 4 straight, and then they dropped one the other night against OKC. They 1-1 on this road trip. Go ahead and talk about the start of the season and what you've seen thus far, and let the listeners know, how did they get off? How did they rebound off of that 0-2 start to win 4 straight?
Well, yeah, man. And again, man, it's always good chopping it up with y'all, man. I try to tell folks, like, after the 0-2 start, folks was ready to jump out the sky. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, there's literally 80 more of these games left, and the proof is always in the pudding, right? The proof is always in the pudding. And there's still a lot of learning that this team has to go through with Quinn Snyder as the coach. Last year when he came in early, he didn't really install anything. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. He didn't even have his staff last year, right? And so he came in. Now, this is the first full offseason, and he's trying to install his system offensively and defensively. But right now, be it a 7-game sample size, I think that you have to be pleasantly pleased in the direction of where this team is headed. Now, I don't know how this thing is going to end, now what the end of the season is going to look like, but if we're looking at 7 games, that's all we have. You have to be pretty pleased with the product. Jalen Johnson has been a nice surprise. DeJounte Murray has seemed to kind of find his footing in the offense. You have 8 guys averaging double figures. I mean, I don't know how many teams have that. I don't know if that's even tenable or if they're able to keep that up. But all the signs are pointing to very positive direction for this Hawks team right now.
All right, so this is the question for the listeners. For all those who haven't seen the Hawks play this year, what is their identity, or what is their identity trying to be, and have they succeeded yet?
Well, I think their identity is they want to play fast. They want to shoot a lot of threes, kind of this new modern NBA type of basketball. They want to touch the paint, shoot threes. They want to get up a lot of threes. And that is kind of the mold that a lot of NBA teams have adopted. For older guys like myself, it seems it's kind of nerve-rattling at times, to be honest with you. But that's the metrics, and that's, what they are. And so they want to play fast. They want to move the ball, and they want to shoot a ton of threes. And I think that they're doing a pretty decent job, at least of the ball movement. Last year, sometimes the ball would get stuck with Trey. Sometimes the ball would get stuck with DeJounte. It was kind of like, okay, my turn, your turn. But this year, even knowing that you have 8 guys averaging double figures, that's just a sign that the ball is moving. And so early on, again, 7-game sample size, you take that with a grain of salt, but it looks like it's moving in the right direction. But to answer your question, they want to be fast paced, they want to be ball movement, they want to get up threes, and hopefully that they don't let that defense hurt them too bad.
Now, I heard Sadiq Bey, even Trae Young, talk about how even in the preseason and the offseason, all they did was just go through defensive drills and worked on defense. Is defense going to be a emphasis on this team for this year, and will somebody step up like a DeAndre Hunter and be that defensive guy that we need?
Well, I'll tell you this, man. It has been an emphasis. Now, if the players are able to meet those metrics, that's a whole nother thing, right? So the coach can preach defense all day long. But if the stars don't buy in, if the players don't buy in, then it's really all for naught. I will say this. Um, the Hawks have put some bad tape out there as far as defense is concerned, especially in the New York game. But in the same tip, they've also put some really good defensive tape out there, right? And so against Milwaukee, when they came down from like 21, I mean, that was just a phenomenal defensive effort. And so you've seen kind of both sides of the nickel, right? And which side is true, I don't know. Only time will tell. But I do know that Quinn has made an emphasis on, the defensive side of the ball because, look, they're going to score points. Like, they're going to score points. And right now, defensive rating, they're 18 out of 30. If they can get that into like top 15, like they're going to be cooking with grease because they're going to be a top 10 offense easily.
Gotcha. All right. So my next question is this: who has been, and I think I know the answer, who has been the surprise player thus far in these 7 games? Though it's a small sample, but who has been the surprise thus far, and who would be the guy that we'll look back at the end of the season and say, wow, this guy really did something this year. He had a big jump.
Yeah, well, the obvious answer is Jalen Johnson. He's shown propensity to be a really good passer. He's a guy that can rebound. He's not as offensively minded as the other guy that they match him with at power forward, Sadiq Bey, but he's very athletic. He's shown a lot in just the few games that he's played, 7 games, and um, it's crazy because, like, under the previous regime, he wasn't getting any burn. And to be honest, like, he wasn't really that good. Like, there was a reason why he wasn't playing. He wasn't that good. And so it's really about time and opportunity meeting, And so the opportunity came up. The minutes came up when you shipped Collins out of here. And Jalen Johnson has been a pleasant surprise. And Hawks fans are just gushing over him, And rightfully so. I mean, of course, the fans are going to do what the fans do, comparing him to different stars in the NBA. Let's just pump your brakes a little bit, but he has been playing well. He has been a delightful surprise, and I like the kid. I hope he does well this year.
So will he be the same guy that we're going to say that by the end of the season, he's going to be the player that jumped off the paper and jumped off the Richter scale to say he was the most surprised player for the Hawks team this year? Will he be that same player?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, because you know what you got with everything else, you know what you got in Trey and DeJounte and even the young guy, AJ, who's surprisingly kind of seemed to fall out of the lineup, which is another story in of itself. But yeah, Jalen's definitely the guy right now. And I think he'll be the guy all season because he's just been a pleasant surprise. Quinn is putting him in very good positions to win. And I mean by win, but just be successful, be successful. He's taken the training wheels off, get a rebound, start pushing the break, because he has that skill set. He don't got to wait for Trey. He can start pushing the break. He's a good rebounder. He can pass the ball and he's athletic. So he can pass it and give it up and finish. So, yeah, it's been a pleasant surprise.
All right. So everybody had clammed, and I think they threw a party when John Collins finally got traded. The next person that everybody wanted to get traded was DeAndre Hunter. So tell me your thoughts on how DeAndre Hunter has started the season, and will he be in trade talks by February this year?
Yeah, it's funny, right? Because it's always got to be somebody, right? And if it's not when John goes, then the torch had to be passed to somebody. And DeAndre Hunter and Clint Capella is the obvious progression, Hunter and Capella. And it's funny because those, get DeAndre Hunter people have been very quiet because through 7 games, DeAndre Hunter has been very good. Very, very good. The other game, he had a dislocated pinky, went out in the first, came back in the third, and played really good defense when he came back in. And so the kid is making strides. I think that he's and he is. I've always kind of liked DeAndre Hunter. I think he's kind of a bad rap. People kind of expected a little bit more from him, but I was like, yo, this is what he is. You take him out, then he is really like your best perimeter defender. So I've always kind of gone to bat for him. But yeah, man, those folks have been quiet. But come February, when you start hearing the rumors, when you start hearing the possible trade scenarios, it's going to be him and Clint and maybe AJ.
Okay. Another thing I wanted to ask you about DeAndre Hunter is, are people judging him based on where he was picked, or are they judging him on the play of his game over the last couple of years?
A little bit of both. He was picked fourth. They made the move up to go get him. And a lot of times that can be a blessing and a curse, right? So if he's picked 12th, I don't think people are having these conversations, but the fact that he was picked fourth, a lot of, folks would call him baby Kawhi and stuff. Like, nah, bro, he wasn't that. But was he the fourth pick in the draft? Absolutely. Go back and look at that draft. There's not many dudes you're going to take over him right now. Of course, that was the draft with Zion and RJ and them cats, but like there weren't many dudes that was better than him, And so like the pick is justified to me. What he was for, like that's kind of like that's a fan problem. You know what I'm saying? And then when he got his money, folks were really upset about that because, they expected something different. He's not going to be different. He's the same dude. He just got a bigger pocketbook. Like when players get paid, they don't all of a sudden say, whoo, I'm about to start playing hard now. No, they're going to be the same player they were when they was on that rookie contract. The money don't change the player. And it's hard for fans to understand that sometimes.
What you
the
trying
money don't
to
change the player. He's still going to be that same dude, man.
That's why I wouldn't pay him. That's beforehand. It's not going to help with money in his pocket. I wouldn't pay him. That's my point the whole time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you're not going to pay him, then don't pay him. You know what I'm saying? But like in the contract, it was a little steep to me, but at the same time, it wasn't egregious. Like it wasn't egregious if you look at comparable contracts, right? If you look at the scale is off. Like I heard y'all talking before I called in about like the influx of money. The scale has been crazy over the past 3 to 5 years. Like dudes not even scoring 10 points a game are easily clearing 16, 17 million a year, which is wild to me. I'm all for players getting their bread, but when they get the money, the player ain't gonna change. You just gonna have a bigger pocketbook.
That's my point. That's exactly you saying what I'm saying, and that's why. Even going back to another point you made when you talked about all the people that came out of that draft when he was picked that high. My point and my contention is always, I'm just not taking a player just because I'm picking third, second in the draft. I understand that if he's not going to be a third or a second round player that's going to help me win a title, I don't want him. I wouldn't take him. I'm moving the pick. I mean, it just makes no sense to me to go out and get guys like the Warriors spent on James Wiseman. And, they looked upon him as probably being this next piece to their, continued success. And now he's not even on team. He's not even getting minutes in Detroit. And not just to pick on him, but there are countless guys like this. To me, if I'm a GM, I'm just being real. I'm not taking guys just because of this. They gotta be game changers. If I'm taking a top 2, top 3 pick in the draft, he gotta be a LeBron James type. He gotta be a guy that I know is gonna be a franchise changer. I'm moving back and let somebody else have that headache. It don't make sense to me. If I'm gonna be bad, I might as well be bad with a guy that I can help my organization, later on. This makes no sense. Plus, a top 1 and 2 pick, expectations are crazy for a guy like that. So you have to make sure you're getting a Luka. You have to make sure you're getting a job. You got to make sure not without a gun. Well, you got to make sure you're getting. You got to make sure you're getting maybe a Wembanyama to me. That's just been my contention. I'm just not gonna get guys and say that he's the number one pick because everybody else is saying, especially the way the game is played now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in that draft, when you look at
Right.
game changers, there's really only like 1 or 2 game changers in every draft, maybe 3 if it's a really good draft. I mean, you don't have those drafts like you did in 96, like you did in 84. You just don't have those drafts anymore. So everything's a project. You know, I'm full with you. Like, if you're gonna just move up, you know, you better be moving up and getting Zion. And even the move up to get Zion is risky because if we keeping it a stat, DeAndre Hunter done played more games than Zion. You know what I'm saying? He done played more games and then Ja. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could make an argument that he's probably been better than all them dudes. Not as a player, but giving you as far as being available and giving you production. Them other dudes been hurt. They've been suspended. You know what I mean? So, like, I get it. Like, I see both sides of the nickel. I personally wouldn't have moved up like that high to get him, but I mean, because I think that there was equal value in that draft. Maybe not towards his skill set, but equal value where you could have stayed where you was at. Because I think you had 2 picks. You still probably could have got Cam at 10 or whatever. Stayed where you was at and still get a decent player. But I mean, that was the move he wanted to make, and I mean, it is what it is, you know.
Yeah. I wanted to ask. Dez had a question about, is DeAndre Hunter, is that the Quinn effect with DeAndre Hunter?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The reason these guys are playing the way they are is because of the system that Quinn is trying to put in. The fact that you got 8 guys in double figures, everybody's eating. Everybody's eating. And if anything, it's benefiting Trey. Now, Trey's been getting some heat because he hasn't been efficient. He hasn't shooting the ball, but he's still top 2 in assists, and everybody around him is eating. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you want for Trey. You don't want him to have to feel like he's got to go for 30 a night because his body is too small, and he's not that type of dude. He can give you 30. He can give you 40 if he needs to. But you want him to be around 20, 25 points. You know, you want him to be more efficient. But if he's going to give you that 10, 12 assists, you're going to ride with it. So, yeah, like all the improvement of JJ, the improvement of DeAndre Hunter, even a Kongu coming in, like, all of that has definitely been part of the Quinn effect, I believe.
So you talked about moving the ball and the ball not sticking. Is that been a mantra for a long, long time in Atlanta when we had Joe Johnson, we had the Nate McMillan, and now we got Quinn. But now this is the first time that I can remember in a long time, or would you say 8 guys averaging double figures? That's unheard of.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. My light just went out, but it's crazy because, like, I think that if anything, you know, Quinn is letting them look. You got players around you. You don't got to do this by yourself, and the person that's got to buy into that is Trey. First and foremost, Trey is already an elite passer, and so you want to maximize that skill set, you know. But I remember the ISO Joe days. You know, they called him ISO Joe. Like, that was like, you know, give him the ball and get the hell out the way. And you know, we love Joe. Joe was a legend in Atlanta, and Joe would go get you a bucket. But that's not championship basketball, you know. And Kobe said that a long time ago when James Harden was doing his thing in Houston. He was like, "I love what James is doing, but it's not championship basketball. Ball movement and those types of things and decence. That is championship basketball." Because don't forget, Quinn is in that. He's in that tree under Budenholzer, who begot you know, Popovich, and Popovich begot Budenholzer. Budenholzer begot Snyder. That tree. That's how they coach, you know. And so you're seeing a lot of Budenholzer, you know, philosophies in this guy. And so I think it makes for winning basketball.
Tell me the effect DeJounte Murray has had thus far in his second season with Trey, because it looked like in his first season he was still trying to figure out what his role is and what his role needs to be. but in his second year, and in that blowout win or in that win, he went for 41 points. And you had some people saying that, even if the trades come up, DeJounte could possibly still be the number one guy in Atlanta. So, but let's talk about what he's done this year, and has he actually found a role for what the Hawks need and for what Quinn needs for us to be a contender?
Yeah, man. If anybody has taken a step as well, it's been DeJounte. He's looked so comfortable in this system, right? He's finding his spot. He's shooting with confidence. And again, in a 7-game sample size, he has looked really good, really comfortable. Inside, outside, he's shooting the 3 better. The last game he had, I think he was like 4 or 6 from 3-point range. Like, so, he's playing with the confidence. He's playing with the tenacity now that wasn't in year one. And I told folks last year, like, look at all the good duos. How good were they in year one? Like, it takes time, and people don't like to hear that, but you go all the way back to Magic and Norm Nixon. It took a while, for the Isaiah and Joe, CJ, and go down the list. It takes time for these guys to figure things out. And I told, like, if nothing else, year 2 is going to be better than year 1. It's really up to the Hawks to see how patient they're going to be with this thing. But I think that he's found a really big comfort level in this system, and it's showing. It's showing.
What about the Saddiq Bey, the Wesley Matthews, the Garrett Matthews, all these guys that don't normally get public press? How effective have they been, and how effective can they be for this Hawks to be a winning franchise this year?
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Saddiq Bey has been a borderline starter. So Quinn has gone to a lineup where, depending on the matchup, Saddiq Bey may get to start at the 4, or Jalen Johnson may get to start at the 4. It's been a fluid situation at the 4. And Saddiq, I think he's one of those 8 guys averaging in double-figure points. Quinn has gone to a really short rotation. He plays pretty much 8 guys, and that 9th guy maybe Garrison Matthews and maybe AJ, who gets maybe like 5 minutes a game. But all of that core 8 has been really effective. And the crazy thing is, like, he's got dudes on the bench. Like, Garrison Matthews is a serviceable basketball player. He's not going to knock the doors off, but if you need a dude to come in there and shoot, he's the guy. You know what I mean? Wesley Matthews, he's a vet. They got him mainly for the locker room stuff. But he's a guy who can come in there. He can make a couple buckets. We know what we saw with AJ last year. So this team is sneaky good on the depth level. I've always said I think they had the best center duo in the NBA. I mean, you're not going to get 2 starting centers giving you 48 minutes of center ball in much NBA teams outside the Atlanta Hawks. Like, Okongwu and Capella are really good. So this team has depth. And a sneaky depth. Now, even though he's only going to play 8 guys in the rotation, but it is what it is. All
right. So with that being said, the Hawks are sneaky good, but they have to play in the East. Who's the best team in the East that they will have to go up against? Who's the best team in your opinion in the East? That we've already beat Milwaukee.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, I still think Milwaukee's better. Boston to me is kind of the cream of the East. Boston is just, they're I mean, that duo they have, and picking up Drew Holiday is just like an added plus and bonus for that team. Now, I will say this, that Boston does have a kryptonite, and I think that is their depth. Outside of that 5, you got what? Pritchard, Horford, and Hauser coming off your bench. Like, that's not a lot of depth. Like, I think Atlanta's deeper than Boston, but Boston is definitely the cream of the crop in the East. Philadelphia looks really good. They got Harden out there, and those guys have not skipped a beat. I think Joel Embiid dropped like 40-something the other night. Philly is really good. You know what I mean? So, by no means is this Hawks team a top tier in the East, but they are better than what they were.
No doubt.
Gotcha. All right. So what's the weakness for the Hawks if you had to pick one?
I think their weakness is still, first of all, is their perimeter defense, and I think that is better. I think that it's improved. I'm seeing more activity. I watch every single Hawks game, so I'm seeing more activity, but there's still moments where they just look clueless on defense, like clueless as far as like just being in spots and being like turned around and like it's still a lot of bad film out there defensively. But again, like if they can just kind of creep up into that top 15, I think they'll be fine. Another thing that is probably a hindrance for this team is that Quinn is installing this system. Like, so they're still learning like terminology. They're still learning sets. They're learning things like on the go. Like this isn't there's not much continuity with this team, even though there wasn't a lot of shakeup to the roster, if that makes sense, because Quinn is doing things totally different than the previous regime, and that's going to take time. So between perimeter defense and just kind of the learning curve of them learning something new is, I think, two things that are kind of net negatives for the Hawks.
If you had to choose the if you had to choose in the trade deadline, if you had to choose a player or a position that we need to improve upon by time February get here in the trade deadline, which would it be?
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know. I think that, and it's tricky, right? Because you don't necessarily have to make a move, but you just paid a Kongwu that bread that's going to say you a starting center. And from a money standpoint, it doesn't make sense to carry two starting centers at a starting center salary. Clint is making 22, and Clint is very valuable to this team. And I don't know how you replace what he does, because what he does is still very good. But it just doesn't make sense to carry that contract into next year, because next year you're already going to be paying the tax. You're going to be paying the tax next year. So, and I think this is where they went wrong with John Collins. I think you got to trade Clint before it gets uncomfortable.
Right.
And it's a tough decision because he's playing well, but the money dictates that you got to make a move if you're gonna invest in these young guys, right? Trade Clint, throw in a young guy, see if there's another guy who can rebound and kind of get close to that skill set that Clint does. You need a big who can kind of rebound, get you 8 rebounds a game. See if that's out there. But to me, that's more so for money purposes, not so because of the roster. Again, I think they're pretty deep as far as the roster is concerned. They got a really good 3-guard lineup with Trey, DeJounte, and Bogey. All 3 of those guys can create. They have good wings. I think that just from a money standpoint, you probably want to look in to see what you can get for Clint, because you don't want is you wait and then that money goes up where he getting $24 million in that last year of the contract, and then you got to sell him for 50 cents on the dollar like you did with John Collins, and all you're gonna get back is some Reese's Pieces. So sometimes you got to make difficult decisions when it's kind of difficult, and that's kind of just my take on it. I would make a move, but just based on the money.
Gotcha. Well, got Dez in the chat said there's not many out there, but he still think that they need to get a goon for the team.
Hey, let me tell you this. Hey, I agree, but I'll tell you this. Can you name 5 goons in the league? Like, can you name them? Like, there's not in, like, the league ain't that no more. And as a kid who grew up in an era full of goons, like, they just not out there. And goons and dogs, they just not out there no more. And so I'm in a total agreement with the statement, but they just not out there like that no more.
Hey, maybe Quinn need to go down to Bankhead, man, and see what he can grab off the street.
Hey, you need one at least on the roster. You know what I'm saying? Get that 15th man. All he do is do goon activities. Like, yep. I'm with it.
Right. Yeah. All right, my last question for you before we let you go. How good is that Wembanyama kid?
Oh, Big Vic. Listen, Big Vic is the future, my guy. Let me tell you something. Watching that dude, and I'm a fan of the NBA, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm a fan of the league, and I pray that this brother has a long career because he is a joy to watch. He is like, I don't know how many of y'all used to play video games back in the day, but when you used to create that player that was like 7'7", could block all the shots, could you kick that 3-point that 3-point rating up to 99. Like, he is a created player. We've never seen anything like this.
Nothing.
Never. Not no bowl. No. We've never seen anything like that. Just like we never seen LeBron James when he came into the league. We never saw Magic Johnson when he came into the league. The league is always going to evolve. That's what people don't understand. Oh, well, you know, he's not. I don't care who he's better than. I've never seen it, and I want to watch it as long as I can. And I hope the brother has a healthy career. I can't wait till they come to Atlanta. And I'm on board with Big Vic, man.
Me too.
You see that game when he dropped 38?
I witnessed it. Oh my God.
Boy, that was fun.
I witnessed it. Yes.
Is the NBA moving toward international play?
I don't know. I can see it. They got the bread for it. I think that they got to take care of Seattle first. You know, you definitely need a team in Seattle. I personally wouldn't want to see an international team in the league because, like, it's not international basketball. It's the National Basketball Association. It's in America, Jack. You know what I mean? And for all intents and purposes, it is international. If you throw in the Canadians, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. They might do. I mean, I heard the NFL talking about stuff like that, but like, I think that'll be too much. You know, then you got players trying to travel. They already travel a lot. When you gonna fly them internationally? Like, what you gonna do? Put a team in the Philippines? Like, nah. Just
how'd y'all go get a passport, man? How'd y'all go get a passport?
Hey, they got dudes that be on that ganja gonna be trying to get through customs. Like, nah, not gonna work, man.
Hey, I got a question for you, Doug. And I heard this today, and it kind of interested, was kind of interesting. They got to fix this All-Star game. They tried a few things or whatever. What I'm hearing now is maybe going international players versus the United States in the All-Star game. What do you think about that instead of going conferences?
I don't know. I like the changes that they made initially when they made the changes for the pandemic. I think that it's time to kind of make another change to kind of freshen it up. I don't know. I kind of want to see it go back to the East and West. You know, I'm more traditional. I think an international versus UA. I think that can be kind of fun, but I don't know, man. Like, I think if they do,
I'm sorry.
Same what you had kind of had before, right? Just kind of players intermingling. It's just a different intermingle, right? So I don't know. I think it could work. I don't really feel a way about it, but I don't know.
I kind of would like to see Giannis and Luka going against LeBron and KD and those type of things to see where we stand. Now, we don't know which side Embiid will be on because I don't know. he kind of straddling right now. So I don't know where he would play.
So I think that'll be dope for like maybe like a year. And then afterwards, it'll kind of be like, they would probably have to change it again, maybe in like maybe 2 or 4 years or whatever, which is fine with me. Like, I think that the changes they made the last time were good. I think it's time for another change. And I think that whatever change they make will be good. Like, I think they've done a good job with keeping it interesting, you know. I really like the fact where they made the players kind of like made each quarter valuable. So it wasn't guys just out there just throwing alley-oops. Like, there was a level of competition that they brought back into it. And so I think they'll do it. Whatever decision they make, I'll be down for it. And I'm gonna be watching either way, even if I don't like it. So, you know, I think it's gonna be decent.
All right, I promise you this is my last question. Tell me about Chet Holmgren and how he's doing this year and what you expect.
Hey man, let me tell you
out
something.
of the year from him.
Chet, although he did not have a good game against the Hawks, Chet has looked good. And I love the fact that him and Wemby got a little beef with each other. Like, they don't really like each other, man. Like, they both gunning for the same thing. And there ain't no love lost between that. And I love that. Like, I love that. Like, we ain't had that in a minute. Like, you know. And so I think those two are going to be playing together, playing against each other pretty soon. But I like his game. He is long. For me personally, if he played with my team, I would like to see him get a little meaner. But I think that that's coming. But he's long. He has a tremendous skill set. And again, like they haven't always made dudes like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and so it's fun to watch him develop. I think this year he's going to have a really good year. That OKC team, man, they're going to be fun to watch, man. Like, watching that game when they played against the Hawks, like SGA, I looked up, I was like, this brother got 30. I thought he had like 7.
Nice.
Like, it was such a cool 30. I don't even think he was sweating. Like, he got 30 in his sleep, you know? And so they're a fun team to watch. I'm a big fan of Chet. I think he's going to do well. I think between the rookie of the year, it's going to be him and Big Vic. Going to be one of them.
Yeah. Do you think OKC will be that team they might move to Seattle?
Ooh, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I think that I don't know. I don't know how well they're doing in Seattle as far as like ticket sales and money and stuff. But like, I don't know, man. All I know is that, you know, the word on the street is Seattle needs a team. And I think Las Vegas was another team, another city they were looking at. But
yeah.
I don't know. It'll be kind of crazy because OKC, it seems like they showed no support for that team, even going back to the Russ and the Durant days. So
they do.
I don't know. I don't know how you make it work.
Yeah. Do you think that having an All-Star game in Vegas, and this tournament where they'll end up in Vegas, you think it's kind of a showcase to see how the NBA might do in Vegas?
Nah, I just think it's bread. it's about the bread, man. Like, I think that it's about the bread. I think they know it. I think they know anything they put in Vegas is gonna pop. Like that don't take a lot of market research. You put anything in Vegas, it's gonna pop, you know. I think the in-season tournament is just something to kind of shake up the league. You know, I think the league is always fast forwarding as far as their thinking is concerned, you know. I'm all for it. I don't really like some of the uniforms. I thought it was kind of cool that they got these little ugly looking courts. I thought it was kind of cool. You know what I mean? Like, they ain't never done it before. I don't know if they'll do it again, but like, I thought it was kind of cool. And I'm interested in it. As a consumer, I'm gonna watch it. You know, and I think that as we get closer and closer toward the end, when it gets to like, oh, okay, well, there's 2 teams left, I think more interest will get into that tournament. So right now it's still kind of early. Folks don't really understand it. But once you get to that Final Four, I think folks are really going to buy into it.
Okay. Big Homie, I know you got to go. Can I give you one more question?
Go ahead.
Can I get him one more question, Big Homie?
Yeah, we good.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tell me about what you think, what you're seeing out of CP3 with the Warriors right now. How is that working for what you see?
Man, he's playing phenomenal. I think I saw a stat where he has like close to 60-something assists and maybe like 3 turnovers on the season. Like, he is giving them an element they've never had before. That element where they're able to slow down and get into an offense and take shots that aren't crazy. And the crazy thing is, like, they've won championships on taking crazy shots. But eventually that has a shelf life, right? It has a shelf life. And to be able to be 2-dimensional is very dangerous. Draymond said that on his podcast. He was like, the difference CP3 gives us is now when option A isn't working, which is Steph making crazy shots and Clay making crazy shots. Now we have the ability to get a good shot with somebody running the show, you know. It makes them very, very dangerous. You know, the only thing with CP3, as is his whole career, how is he going to look toward the end of the season? I think you got to load manage him. Like, don't let him out of the hotel. Like, don't let him trip on the toenail. Like, you got to load manage him, because if he's there in the playoffs, Golden State going to be a hard out. I don't care if they sneak in. They're going to be a hard out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Hey, can you kind of explain that tournament for folks who listening and who don't understand what the tournament is for, what it's about, or why they even doing it?
Yeah, so the in season tournament is kind of like a tournament within the season, right? And so you have the teams grouped in different pools, right? So it's kind of like international ball. They play. It doesn't disturb the schedule. It's just that when you play certain teams, it counts as a tournament game, right? And so last week when you had the first set of tournament games, you may notice the team's courts may be very loud, very verbose, very very colorful. Some of the teams have different jerseys, right? And so it feeds to the aesthetic, right? And so you have like this pool play of these first round games after that, and then it's kind of like tournament time. And so if you achieve like a certain record in your pool, let's say you have 4 tournament games and you have 5 teams, so the top 2 teams, maybe like the team that went 3-1 or the team that went 4-0, those 2 teams are going to advance to the next round where they play other top tier teams in the league. And then it kind of evolves into like a tournament. And so the final game is in Vegas, I believe. And it's kind of like, I don't know, like if the players get extra bread or if anyone gets extra bread, but it's just a marketing ploy to drum up interest, to drum up money, And so it's just kind of a marketing, another wrinkle to just, say, hey, this is something different that we're doing to offer our fans. I think it's a great idea, and I think it's going to be very successful.
Cool. All right, E-Dub, man, let everybody know where they can find your Hawks, your podcast, your Hawks information, and all that on social media.
Hey, man, hit us up at the Hawks Beat on all your social media platforms. We even on TikTok now, man. So for those that tick and top, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, if you want to call it. Just search Hawks Beat. We got fresh podcasts after every single game. We now have a weekly podcast that we do, in addition to the post game show. So after the week, we break down what the week looked like for the Hawks. We're going to actually record tonight. The Hawks have a game in Mexico tomorrow night, and so we're giving you the best of Hawks coverage, man. So check us out, tune in, tap in with us. Hawks Beat, y'all know how we get down.
Yeah, and the website hawksbeat.com as well, right?
Yes, sir. Make sure you write so THE thehawksbeat.com, and from there you can find us anywhere. You can find our link tree. You can find out everywhere. You can get the latest podcast episode there, and that's how you get at us.
Good deal, man. We sure appreciate it. Appreciate it, bro. Hey, let's talk soon. Go Hawks.
Yes, sir. We'll see you, man. See you guys.
All right. All right, hand. There it is, man. The Hawks report. The more I listen, the more I continue to say that the NBA is trying to figure out a way to go international. Because everything he talked about on the outside of that was all international related.
Right. Yeah, I think they want to get that money. It's a global game. And you can see it with the influx of foreign players in this league. You have to at least reach out more because you want that talent to keep coming. The game expanded. It happened like that when Magic and everybody went and played in the Olympics with Bird and all that, and they got to see him. You saw how far and more advanced the United States was than the other countries because they just wiped the floor with them. But as you can see now with you see the Lucas, you see the Embiid, you see Siakam and all those people, they come over here now and they can play, so the game is global and they're taking it more global. I don't know. I agree with E-Dub. All that flights and traveling to other countries, I just don't think that's conducive to having a team, internationally that's in the NBA. But to play some games over there and do whatever to expand the game, yeah, I'm okay with that. But I just don't, same thing with the NFL. Having a team over in Europe it's just not going to work right. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so either. All right, man. With that being said, it's time to go ahead and jump into our ballers and busters for this week.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, sir.
Let's
So
do it.
everybody put your ballers and busters in the chat time and we go time. All right, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and start it off, and I'm gonna get my baller this week to Ron Washington
Okay.
for the Atlanta Braves. We're gonna continue to give him flowers as he has meant so much to this organization. And breaking news, I just found out that Eric Young Sr. will be going with him to LA. So the Braves had lost their first base coach and their third base coach.
Okay.
But Ron Washington, well deserved. I don't throw the word deserve around too often, but let's just say he's earned the right to manage the team again. He's 71 years old, and so hopefully he can ride it on out. That's my baller for this week. What you got?
But big homie, my ball is going to hit the city of Atlanta pretty hard. And I got to go with Joshua Dobbs, man. For this dude to come in and not even basically know the playbook, not to know, probably touch the booty of the center for the first time during the game, and come in, and win a football game. Not just play, against the odds and do it, but to come out and just really be the reason that they won. He went 20 for 30, only 158 yards passing, but he counted for 2 touchdowns. A passer rating of 101, QBR of 86 or whatever, and that's really not important. The important part was he possibly kept them in really the playoff hunt. Now he got Justin Jefferson maybe talking about coming back. This dude, man, I mean, he is a quality backup. He's the new Fitzpatrick is what I see. He's got Fitz magic. I don't know if it's Dobbs magic or whatever, but, they talk about him being a rocket scientist or having that kind of, mental capacity because of what he studied, aerospace, whatever. But for him to come in and learn offenses the way he does, that lets you know, man, this dude's aptitude is through the roof. So I give my baller to Joshua Dobbs for coming in and quarterbacking the Vikings in a situation where nobody thought he should be in the game. I lost you. You muted. You muted, big homie. You muted. Still can't hear you. Yeah. There you go. You there now?
All right. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, the browser went crazy there for a minute. I think I'm back now. So yeah. So we good to go now. So this technology, it's go. Maybe. Do we have Arthur Smith calling plays or something?
Yeah, I don't know. He might not have liked what I said about Josh Dobbs. I don't know.
Yeah, man. But all right. So those are the ballers. All right, now busters. You wouldn't believe who my buster is this week. I bet you can guess.
I know it's Arthur Smith.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm not going to even go into all that. I'm gonna wait till you ask me about something later on in the show. But yeah, Arthur Smith is my buster this week. And Arthur Blank almost got the buster too for hiring the dude. But it is absolutely abysmal for what he has done and not done. You know, all these field goals and you got the ball on. Now, how do you have for the second straight week? Do Jonnu Smith got some tape on him or something?
Oh no, John must be playing for a contract.
Bro, how do you run a tight end jet sweep when you got a number 8 pick that's not even in the game, a number 4 pick that's not even in the game, and you trying to outsmart everybody and run a jet sweep to a backup tight end? I mean, come on, man. I mean, let's be real.
Have no words for it,
Really?
big homie. I got no words for it.
Yeah.
But that leads into my buster, and it has to be the Atlanta Falcons for letting the guy come in that doesn't know his playbook and beat you at home. You know, there's no way that NFL football team should allow that. So I got to give the Falcons the buster for all that I said good for what Josh Dobbs did. It should not have been tolerated. There's no way he should have come in here and beat you. But that goes along with what we always talk about, you know, my sports Bible. Whenever the Falcons are favored, always take the points with whoever they're playing.
Oh, E-Dub got a baller and a buster.
Okay.
He said even the parking attendants. Oh my goodness. Yeah, CJ Stroud is definitely.
Didn't see that, big homie. Yeah. I didn't see that.
Yeah, he's definitely.
He legit. He is legit.
Oh, for sure. Our Dez. Yeah, he called him Fart Smith, but yeah, he got to go. And I don't even know how he made it out of the locker room without getting the pink slip. How do you lose at home to a third string quarterback who you just picked up? The man's still living in the facility. He don't even have a place to live yet.
That's what I'm saying. There was no way
he was calling the offensive lineman bruh because he didn't even know their name.
They should probably get a buster for hurting the quarterback, hurting the rookie. If they would have beat him, if they left him alone, that was they made a mistake of injuring the rookie quarterback.
Yeah, that's horrible.
We got any more busters? Anybody picking up?
All right, so nah, I don't have any more. I think that was Dez buster, Mr. Smith there. But all right, so let's go ahead and move on to our roundtable discussion, hand. And you know how we do it. This is our thing. Yes, sir. We're gonna ask the people to join us this week. We'll ask the people to give us a thought. Tell me what you learned, and now what you know. Well, hold on. Dad say he got a buster.
Okay. Yeah, he got 3. They all are. He going with about 3 times. Okay.
Absolutely. All right, big homie. You want me to go first? You want to go first?
Yeah, I shoot you one. Give me your first thought, big homie. What did you? Right, what did you think? What did you thought?
My thought is, I thought that we are in an American sports society where basketball, football, and baseball is Americanized. That's my thought.
That's your thought. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. My thought is, and what I thought going into this time was that all NFL teams tell me that they are not in it to win when you see the quarterbacks that are backups in this league. They're not trying to win. You can't be when you see some of the quarterback play that's going on in that field. So I thought that going into the
And it
weekend.
was 13 backup quarterbacks this week alone.
And some of them shouldn't be in the league. That is my point. When you look at who they're in there.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
You got any more thoughts?
No, that was my thought, but I can tell you what I learned.
Tell me what you learned this weekend, big homie.
Hey, so with that thought, I learned this, that the more Wembanyama continues to shine, the more we go see him on TV like he's on tonight.
Yeah, I think he gets.
Yes,
I think they already got him as the most televised NBA team this year, I believe. So they're pushing him.
Okay, so I've learned that when you look around, you got Wembanyama, international player. When you look at baseball, Shohei Ohtani, international. And each and every Sunday morning at 9:30, where the NFL playing? International.
They're playing overseas right now, no doubt. They got a Germany game this weekend.
Yeah, so I've learned that the American sports is pushing international.
Trying to get that dollar. Yeah, you're trying to get that international money.
And they have picked their guys to go to, except for the NFL. They just flying over there and you play. But Shohei and Wembanyama got to be the most Googled guy in their own sport right now.
Yeah, they're pretty popular without a doubt.
So that's what I've learned.
Okay. Well, I got a couple of learns here, big homie. And what I learned is the Kansas City Chiefs need to get some receivers because Kelsey is being clamped down on. The NFL now, and defenses are starting to find a way to limit what he can do. They're kind of containing him and containing their offense. Mahomes is not being the guy that he can be because he doesn't have the people around. Other thing I learned is that Cincinnati and Joe Cool, and Joe Cool is still that dude. Cincinnati is coming. They start slow every week, every year, but when the chips come down or whatever, Cincinnati's going to be there. And last thing I learned, that Tennessee has found their quarterback, and I was not a Will Levis fan. I'm going to be honest with you. I did not think that he was an NFL prospect, and he didn't play well. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong about he's the end-all, be-all. But you can see he has some quarterback tendencies that I think they can build on. So I think they found their quarterback to lead them into whatever they're going to become, if they become something. But anyway, I think they found their quarterback.
Okay. And if anybody out there in the chat, if you got a thought and what you've learned and what you now know, go ahead and post it for us so we can read it out. All right, Han. So this is what I now know.
What you know?
With all of the international things that I've learned, I now know that the Americanized sport that we grew up loving is now trying to expand the region to include international play. Point blank, period.
Okay. What I know, big homie, is that the Baltimore Ravens are legit, and they might be the best team in the NFL. Also know
they are
that the Buffalo Bills window for a championship has closed.
Ooh, okay.
That's what I know.
It's closed? Like
it's
closed?
It's closed. As constituted right now, it's a wrap. They are not It's over. The defense isn't there. Josh Allen right now is trying to do everything, and all he's doing is making mistakes. If this is another quarterback, let's say that the powers that be really don't like, they're grilling him because he's throwing interceptions, he's making mistakes, he's trying to do too much, and they be saying all this. But right now they're still coddling him and saying, well, he doesn't have help. But when other quarterbacks do this and they're playing out, not playing well, he's not playing well. We just got to say it like it is. And yeah, it may be due to the fact he has one receiver, doesn't have a run game, defense is struggling. But what I've learned is their window has closed.
You mean what you know?
Says in the NBA team is trying to what? Is trying his patience.
Trying his patience.
Yeah, he got a problem. Well, you got the wrong dude that y'all just put faith in. I'm sorry about that, cuz. But I'm feeling pain too with my Cowboys, so it is what it is.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and jump into ranking of our top 5 NFL teams.
Let's do it. You want me to go first?
All right, hold on. We got some more. I've learned we do not have enough Alabama supporters. Oh my goodness. Boy, when you let Roll Tide in the door, they just won't stop, huh?
I thought D. Will wasn't on the broadcast today.
You know what I'm saying? Oh my goodness. All right, yeah, you go first. Go ahead and rank your top 5.
All right, my top 5, I kind of mentioned before, I got Baltimore as the number 1 team in NFL right now, followed by Cincinnati Bengals. I know Philadelphia had a big win against the Cowboys, but I see some weak signs in the Phillies defense. Defensive line's pretty good, but that secondary and the young linebacker play in some aspects is kind of – Nakobe Dean is not up to par as their true middle linebacker right now, and they struggle against pass games. CeeDee Lamb killed them this past weekend. But the offensive line and things of that nature, and especially with Jalen Hurts, I think the knee is a little bulky, but I got them 3rd. I have Kansas City Chiefs as 3, still a good football team. Defense, this is probably the best defense that the Chiefs have had since, definitely since Mahomes has been there, but it's a pretty good defense. And 5, I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions as my 5th team. They had a week off. They did have a bad game a couple of weeks back, but when you look at the totality of their season, going into Arrowhead, did beat the Chiefs. I think they lost on the 1 game. I got them as my 5. So I go Baltimore, Cincy, Philly, Kansas City, and Detroit. And noticeably, yes, San Francisco is not in my top 5 right now. They're losers of their last 3, so I got to see what's going on with them.
All right, so I'm pretty much on par with you. I got Kansas City as the number 1 team.
Still, okay.
Yeah, I still got Kansas City as the number 1 team. Only because my Bob is a Kansas City fan. I gotta go get my haircut this week, so I figure I'll shoot him some love. But Baltimore is 2, Philadelphia is 3, Cincinnati 4, Detroit 5.
Okay. Say that one more time. I want to ask you a question about it. Say your 5 again.
I got Cincinnati 1.
I thought KC was 1.
I mean, yeah. I'm tripping. I'm reading as I talk.
Gotcha.
Kansas City 1, Baltimore 2, Philadelphia 3, the Bengals 4, and the Lions 5.
Okay. What is it? What's holding you back on Cincinnati after seeing what they've been doing lately? What's holding you back on moving them up a little bit higher?
Well, because they starting to, Chase starting to get a little injured, and I know T. Higgins had a pretty decent game. And
they're both banged up. They're both banged up when they did the injury report. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and to me, it's the injuries, just to be the injuries, it's always something. You always got to fight through something throughout the season. So I'm gonna say the injuries is holding me back from, because they don't have the depth to make up for if Chase don't play, or Higgins or Boyd. They just don't have the depth.
Okay. I kind of got faith in old Joe Cool, man. If he's healthy, I think he can cover some of those here. But I see what you're saying. I see where you're coming from. I'm not going against it. I just got so much faith in Joe Burrow, man. Joe Burrow, he and Mahomes to me are the top 2 quarterbacks in the league.
And, hey, hold tight real quick. I got to show you this.
So show me what's what.
Man, look who's on tonight, giving us a blessing.
Watch out now. What's up?
Yeah. Hey, that's our boy right there.
I know that's right. What's up, young fella?
Yeah. Mr. Brown, what's going on, bro?
I know that's right.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give him a call after the show or something. We gotta do, definitely gotta get up and do something. But yeah, he said thanks for the sports knowledge as a young gent. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, man. Yeah, we've been doing this for a long time.
Long time, bro.
Long time.
Good to hear from you, bro.
Absolutely. So the thing, but this is the thing though. Also, if I can add this to it, what's keeping me from putting Cincinnati up is Baltimore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Baltimore
listen, we talking about depth. When we thought the running back situation in Baltimore was a little, skeleton or whatever the case may be, and we thought Lamar Jackson was probably doing a bit much or whatever. And then out of the outskirts, you got Gus Edwards. He had 3 touchdowns a week before last or something like that, right?
Right.
And then out of nowhere, out of East Carolina, Atlanta bred, Keaton Mitchell comes out of nowhere and just and all of a sudden Baltimore has found a running game again, and it's no stopping them. Todd Monken looks like a magician now.
And I was worried about that.
Yeah. And he's looked like a magician now for what he's done for that offense. But Baltimore it's almost like they were just playing possum at the beginning of the season, then all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I don't know if I want to say surprised, but I guess it was an awakening to see that they came as strong as they had. But they know what they do. They do what they do well. You know what I mean? They run the football, they play hard defense. And the thing about them is that when it gets cold, their game will travel in that element, especially if they have home field and you have to go into Baltimore playing in those elements, the way they run the football and the physical style they play with, and the special teams, they have faith in their kicker more than anybody in the league. So their special teams will be a plus for them. It's going to be a tough out if they get home field throughout the playoffs, for sure. So I know Mahomes doesn't want to go there and have to, win in Baltimore. But the same can be said for Cincinnati, because they play outdoors too. So they're not adverse to the elements. So I do think that their run game is the difference, when you talk about that though. But I still lean Joe Burrow when it comes down throwing the football, man. He is that dude, man. He is that dude. Yeah, he is. I got to see Lamar, win the big one. But right now, we've seen Joe Burrow get his team to the Super Bowl.
I agree. Yep. All right, Han. So this is the time where we talked about we talk about each other's team. I'm gonna ask you about the Cowboys. You asked me about my team, and we're gonna give each other our grade. This is the halfway point. Well, possible halfway point. It's 17 games, so not the Falcons done played 9 games, and I think the Cowboys they done played 9 or they play
8 games. I think we're 5-3.
8.
I believe it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you ask me about my boys, big homie, the
I'm
thing I
asking
said.
you grade the season and give me a grade for what they've done, and what do you think they can do better, and how do you think they'll end up?
I give a C-, a C-, and that's on the high end, to be honest with you, because when they've been tested by 2 of the teams that you would have to say are playoff teams in San Francisco and in Philly, you came up short. The only reason I give you a C is because you played Philly to a really a close game. So I'll go with that, saying that I'll give them the C-. If we were going to grade and it was just a 49ers game, they would definitely get an F. And dropping the game to Arizona was really a bad look when you kind of let down. You went in there thinking that all you had to do was show up. You didn't play 2 of your offensive linemen and just tried to say, well, we can get through this one. So from what I've seen out of the Cowboys, I'm just not really confident that you win games. Look at this. This goes when we were 1st and 10 at the 5-yard, 1st and goal at the 5-yard line. 1st and 10, move back to the 11. Then, at the 11, get a 5-yard penalty to move you to the 6-yard line. Then you go to shotgun, Dak gets sacked. Right there, you cannot take a sack. I don't care. That's the last thing that your offense coordinator probably says to you in your ear before you go to call the play. Remember, main thing to do is not lose field position, get the ball out of your hand. He takes a sack. Then you get a penalty for delay of game. Then you end up back in 3rd down. You on the sack instead of grounding the ball, you rush a play, and you lose a down. And now you're in a situation that you really can't come back from. Then it's 3rd and 21. You throw a ball that you don't even get to the end zone. So, I mean, it just is what it is. The Cowboys tease you. The drive you put together to get all the way down to the 5-yard line. You think you got a chance to win. And then Dak doesn't win this game. And you can sit here and I can hear all that. Well, Dak wasn't the reason that they lost. But he damn sure wasn't the reason we won either. So, again, he can't get those games across the finish line. So, with that, Cowboys get a C. Dak, to me, is a D quarterback right now because we haven't won a game that really matters this year.
All right. And what do they need to do to get better, and what did you see them finish?
Well, one thing you're going to have to do is, and you can't do anything about this year, is to find a running back. You have to find a running back that could possibly change 2nd and 8 into a 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5, because he's able to be his own blocker and get that extra yard and have 2 yards. It's better to go into a 2nd and 5 rather than going in 2nd and 8. And that's what you're getting when you come up with Pollard running the ball. Not that Tony's not a quality running back, but he's not a guy that you can run between the tackles consistently and get those quality tough yards. He's more of that game breaker outside, that tackle read or popping a run outside, getting the ball to him in space. And I think they made a mistake by thinking that they could get by with him being the main running back. I just don't think that he's that type of back. He is a good back, but they should have gone and gotten a back that they could hit up in the line. See, like I said, this would help Dak. Coming to the line at 2nd and 5 a lot of times, 2nd and 4, maybe getting 2nd and 3 because that running back gets that extra yard. That plays a part into it. But when you come to the line and you're, in that 2nd and long, 3rd and long situations, that just doesn't help.
Okay.
So, all right, big homie, what's that?
What do you see they finish?
After last week, I didn't even look at the remaining schedule. I know we got Philly coming to us, which will be a good thing. And I think we can beat Philly, especially with what I've seen in their secondary and their defense is a little skeptical, little something left to be desired in their defense. And I don't know how healthy Jalen Hurts is. His knee is not going to get better this season. He's probably going to have some surgery.
They on the bye this week because he out of my lineup. And
but I'm just saying,
you can thank me for my fantasy for this week too.
I heard that, but that's what I mean when I'm saying him a little banged up. He had to leave the game. Well, he went in, limping. They shot him up or whatever. Came out and made a play. And then I can tell you one telling thing. If you recall the last drive that Philly had when they were trying to run the clock out before they punted to the Cowboys, how many times have we seen them come out in like a 2nd and 8 and they just try to get down to maybe get it to a 3rd and 2 so they can run their power, what they call the brotherly shove? Well, this time they didn't concentrate on They didn't concentrate on just getting it close, and then relying on him to get that last yard because I don't think his legs are there. I think that knee is bulky, so I don't think they wanted to put him in that position. So they tried to throw the ball and tried to make this, this 3rd down play instead of getting close to get their push and whatever. They tried to throw the ball on 2nd. So to me, that was a little telling because they could have ended that game, by just getting a 1st down. And they didn't play the Philly ball. And Philly ball, especially with that offensive line, is get it close to the 2 yard, 1 or 2 yard, and then run that play to win the game. They didn't do that. So I'm gonna keep an eye on what's going on in his knee. But anyway, with Dallas, I think we get to the playoffs. I don't really have faith that we're gonna make a deep run because I don't have faith in my quarterback. I'm just gonna be real with you. And I don't really like my play caller. When you look at what he's doing, he's not even using Cooks. You go out and acquire him like he's gonna be a compliment to what you're getting out of CeeDee Lamb, and he doesn't get the ball. You're not using him in situations, So I'm not confident in us doing a lot, and it'll be another wasted year, to be honest with you. We'll probably finish at least double-figure wins, but what does that mean when you don't make you don't make a true run for a title?
Yeah, I agree.
Talk to me about your Falcons, big homie.
Well, big homie, let me adjust my microphone because this is gonna be a legendary rant.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't know if you quite ready for this one, but yeah, it's finna be legendary because I'm finna let it all hang out. Yeah, y'all get your popcorns ready for this one, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm about to let you know how I really feel. First of all, the grade is gonna be an F. F stands for flunky, flunk, fail, failure. So let me go ahead and break this thing down here. I refuse to call this man by his first name. So to me, his name is Awful Smith, and I got that from one of our Falcon fans who's always saying, calling it what it is. So Awful Smith got this job. Well, let's go back. First of all, he grew up a kid of a billionaire father. We can all agree to that, correct?
Oh, no doubt.
All right. So now I can imagine he's one of those kids that he was never good enough to make the team. So his dad paid for the league fees so he can be on the team. So with that being said, Han, you're not really playing football because you actually love it and you actually have a passion for it. You're doing this because it's a hobby. Rich kids have hobbies that they always trying to do, not for the passion. I mean, I'm just saying, it is what it is. So now, he tells his dad, I want to get into coaching. So his dad partners with the Washington Redskins at the time and names the field after them And with the connection, helps his son gets a quality control job with the Redskins. Okay.
Okay.
Then after moving through the ranks, he, did some stuff in some college ranks and moved around a little bit. And then here we go. Now we go to Tennessee, and who's Tennessee's biggest sponsor?
FedEx, right?
FedEx. Yeah, FedEx is in Memphis, right?
All day long.
Yeah, so Nashville is there. So FedEx is the sponsor for the Tennessee Titans. Once again, he gets a job with Tennessee Titans because of his dad's connection. Now, by all accounts, when you have those connections, you can, rich kids talk and they move and they do this and that. He ends up being the offensive coordinator, right? And they fired, is it Mike Mularkey? I think Mike Mularkey was the coach at the time. He gets fired. Right. He gets fired in 2018. The next coach comes in, and so this is my thing. This is where it hits the road. In looking for a new coach, Arthur Smith wasn't even thought about. You are already there in Tennessee, and instead of moving you to head coach, you go outside and hire Mike Vrabel. So what that tells me this. They knew that possibly just because you're a son of a billionaire doesn't make you good at coaching. Because you're doing this for a hobby. Because if he was that good, why didn't Tennessee hire him and he's already there? Yeah. All they got to do is change the title. All they got to do is just change the title. So after this happens, we get tired of this Dan Quinn thing, and the Falcons, Arthur Blank finally, after going 0-5, he cans Dan Quinn. And we all like, okay, he cans Dan Quinn and Terry Dimitrov, or whatever his name, Dimitrov. So both of them leave, and you got to try to get a coach and a GM now. So what makes this look bad is that you hired Arthur Smith before you even hired the GM. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So, which furthers my point to Dad makes another call to Arthur Blank and says, I will partner and sponsor. I'll be a sponsor for the Falcons if you do me this solid. Arthur Smith gets hired. Then they go and hire your nemesis, your rival, Terry Fontenot, as the GM. Two mistakes.
I know you didn't like the New Orleans hire.
So, and this is my thing, and this is, hear me out here. So, you hire a guy who is from Lake Charles, Louisiana, grew up a Saints fan, bleeding Saints. He worked for the Saints, not as the GM, but assistant GM. But you're not quite the GM, so you're not really making decisions. So the Falcons hire you as the GM to make decisions. So my question to you, big homie, who do you think his allegiance in his heart is still with.
I would hate to think that his allegiance is still with New Orleans. You can't be serious on that, Big O.
But listen. Let me ask you this. I'm a big time Braves fan, right? You know that.
Right? I know that.
You know that. If I took a job with the St. Louis Cardinals, no, not with the Cardinals. I got to have somebody in my division. If I took a job with the Washington Nationals as a GM, do you honestly think that my love for the Braves will go away?
No. Not knowing you, I know it wouldn't.
Okay, so this dude grew up a Saints fan just like I grew up a Braves fan. So how do you expect his allegiance for the team that he grew up loving just to all of a sudden just disappear? And let me give you proof. You know, I've always talked about, you know, give me some concrete. If your allegiance is with the Falcons right now, Terry Fontenot, why haven't you said anything to Awful Smith about play calling or anything that he's doing that's been bad for 3 years? You haven't said anything. And as long as he knows that if Awful Smith is still the head coach of the Falcons, we gonna continue to lose, which makes which team in first place right now in the NFC South?
New Orleans Saints.
I'm listening.
So it's an inside job.
There you go. Listen, he's still getting a check from the Saints. Got to be. I mean, if you're the GM and what would you have told Awful Smith by now?
He had to make some changes. I'd have been. He wouldn't have had. He'd have had a real quarterback in here by now, I thought.
Okay, but he hadn't said nothing. Not one word.
Did they not put him on notice at the beginning of the year? Did I not hear that? That he had
that was off the blank.
Okay.
But I'm talking about right now. You treading in the wrong direction right now. You've been losing games that you shouldn't lose. So my whole thing is you got 2 bad hires and you haven't done anything. You can't do anything about it at this particular point. Because you got a head coach that's calling plays who won't even give up the play calling because he's a spoiled rich kid.
Well, who does he have that he would trust on that staff? Who would be the next guy that you would see calling plays?
Nobody. Which means that he has to get on Delta or get FedEx to move him out of here. And we got to start it over.
So okay,
there's
with
nobody on the staff.
With that, if you get rid of him, and I know that's what you're leaning toward, and you keep talking about, I guess we've said this before, you won't be enemy. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. So all the negative things that they constantly say about him, you cool with him coming in here with that? Or do you think that was just smoke for him not to be able to do the game?
You've been making bad hires for the last decade. Okay. At least I know that the offense will be a bit more competent than it is now.
Well, you know, I got to ask this. Is this city ready for a black head coach, Big Home?
I think the city is ready to stop the losing. I don't care what color he is, green, brown, yellow.
I know you don't. I know you don't, but listen to my question. Is this city of Atlanta ready for a black head coach? Is the city,
I would
not
say yes.
not you, but I'm saying
Yeah,
the
I would
city.
say yes. I would say yes because I've talked to so many different people and they just sick of the losing. And you had Raheem Morris
Interim.
and you didn't right as an interim and you didn't choose to keep him, which I thought was they would have kept him, I think it would have been better off than we
But
are
see
now.
that therein lies what I'm saying. I just don't know how that plays here. I know the fan base it has a lot of African American in it. Don't get me wrong, and a lot of time you go to tailgate, there's a lot of following and everything. And we pretty much Atlanta is a progressively black city, but that's like an oasis in the desert. Because when you venture out a little bit more, it's not that way outside of once you keep going out. You
Right.
get you understand what I'm saying. So I
Hmm.
just don't know. I would like to think that it wouldn't be an issue. I'd like to think that Arthur Blank wouldn't allow that to come into that decision because of the color of someone's skin. But I just think that a lot of money that goes into the backing, I don't know if they're ready for that. Because let's be honest, you have to follow the money. The money is what drives everything, and you have to have sponsors. You have to have people that'll put money back into the organization. And all those signs out there when they're sponsors, they're out there for a reason. You know, said the chocolate city's ready. Okay.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying and I get it. And to me, I think, and you say it all the time, winning cures a lot of ills. And I think once you start to winning, then everything else falls into place.
Okay. Well, it
Because I
remains to be
just think
seen.
right now
I,
you just kind of winging it. You just going through the motion.
I
If
would
they
love
go
to
out
see
to
it.
if they
I
go
would
out to
love to see it.
Arizona, go ahead.
I would love to see it because I think Bieniemy deserves a head coaching job. I would love to see him here in Atlanta and try to make it work. I would just hope that he would get a fair shot, and come in here some talent here that I think he could work with. That offense has it has some talent on it, but he has to get the right trigger man, meaning the right quarterback to come in here and run this. But it's some talent there, and maybe he can build upon that. But you need somebody in here with a vision and a mindset to put this organization in the right frame of mind, in the right, I guess, playing personality. Because I don't think with the talent that you have, with the way he's trying to run a Tennessee style with a Derrick Henry almost type. We saw that last year with the quarterback he got. So it's crazy. I just don't understand it. So we'll see. I would love to see Bieniemy get a shot though. Had two black head coaches, but when the Super Bowl won it. I was trying to see what Cuz was talking about his organization, the Colts.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm just at this point, hand. I'm just sick of the buffoonery, the each and every week, the antics on the sidelines, the cluelessness. I mean, he just, even the antics, the facial expression, all that looks to me like a spoiled rich kid who don't get his way. That's all it looks like.
Well, one thing's for certain, big homie. I don't think you like your coach, and I don't like mine. So we got to sit here and ride it out. Which organization do you think makes the move first? Do you think the Falcons make their move first, or do you think the Cowboys make theirs? Because Jerry, I said this a few weeks back. Jerry Jones is getting up there in age, and if he wants to win another Super Bowl, the time is starting to run on him. So he has to make a decision. I think he put a little heat on him on McCarthy this year because he allowed him to call his own plays, got rid of what was the quarterback? What was the guy that was calling plays for the Cowboys? Can't think of his name. Anyway, he's in with the Chargers right now. Kellen Moore. So he allowed him to get rid of Moore because he said Kellen Moore didn't run the football enough. And now you're still having to throw the football to have any kind of success because you don't have a run game, even though you supposedly have this, above average offensive line. So I think McCarthy is on the hot seat, but which one's seat is hotter, McCarthy or Smith's?
Smith. Because of the expectations, Smith is got to be hotter than McCarthy because I think at least what you have in Dallas is have the cachet to kind of ease through some bad times. I mean, think about it. You got some championship, you got some Super Bowl rings that you can sit back and ride on and say, well, you know what? We can go through a rough spot at least 1 or 2 times.
Yeah, but us old Cowboy fans, them rings so dusty, man. We need some new rings, man.
I get it, but you asked me about the Cowboy Nation, and I'm just, asking me about the whole thing, and I'm just saying, in Atlanta, we haven't won anything, and we still the butt joke of the actual Super Bowl that we went to.
Right.
So,
but at least it's more recent than what we went to.
Yeah, but with the expectations of, you keep hiring these coaches that keep, you can't keep hiring favors. When the good old boy system run out here, and it runs out. I mean, the good old boy system don't always win.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. You got New York, you got Washington, you got Chicago, you got all kind of people here in Atlanta. They've moved from city to city to come here to reside here. And you mean to tell me you can't put at least a decent winning product on the field? It says at least we trying to win. Yeah. So I think it's hotter here than it is anywhere else. I think it's hotter here than it is in Dallas.
Okay. But we'll see because the season, we're halfway done basically now, or getting to the halfway point. Do you think if Arthur Smith keeps losing and they fall completely out of this race for the South, will he make the season? Will he stay the head coach throughout the season? They're gonna make a move during the season.
You ask me what I think, or ask me what?
I mean, just your sports knowledge and seeing how this really works. Do you see them making a move during the season?
If he doesn't, if you lose to a 1-win Arizona team, he shouldn't even get back on. He shouldn't even get back on the plane. But because of the history that Arthur Blank has with the loyalty of these coaches and whatever, I think he stays with him.
He's fired people in season before, though, hasn't
he? Yeah, but it was a year too late.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree with what you're saying.
The Rich McKay in his ear, maybe that's the problem.
Yeah,
maybe.
But I'm with you. I'm with you on this though. If he goes out and loses to an Arizona team that's pretty much giving up, I think that may be cause for him to make a move. It may happen. The seat got to be hot.
And Dad said it best right here.
And that may be so.
Oh, Gerard got something to say. Let's see what Big Homie got to say. Yeah, I agree. You see why we fed up?
Oh, I understand. Look, man, you're speaking to a Cowboy fan. I'm fed up too. I understand. I'm not against anything you're saying. That's why I'm asking you, will a move be made during the season? Because I'm sure, you know, I know how you vent each and every Sunday, and I'm sure the Falcons message boards are blowing up, and they're very displeased with what they're seeing with this product. So I'm sure Arthur Blank is getting an earful every week, you know, through social media, through whatever message board that the Falcons use. It's coming to him, I'm sure. And like I said, I'm pretty sure he started the season with expectations of this being better, especially with all the young talent that he's drafted over his last few years, and they still not there, you know. Bro, and he's not even using Bijan.
Exactly. Not even using Bijan, and you spent $140 million on defense this year, and you missed 11 missed tackles on Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, the front four, you know, did fine.
Yeah. But I still hadn't heard anything like, you know, the dreaded vote of confidence, you know, because that's normally what starts to be asked to the owner. You know, is the coach's job in jeopardy or something like that? But I hadn't seen that even be asked yet.
It's in jeopardy. Yeah, it's hot.
All right.
Yeah, when you hear that, man, you know it's already time to go. One thing about it, we can go all the way to 10 o'clock if we want to. But I'm gonna go ahead and start a shout out. Shout out to you, Big Homie, for coming through doing your thing each and every week. Shout out to E-Dub. And we're gonna keep saying prayers for D Will and the wifey. And also want to give a special birthday shout out to the Jeweler Sports.
Oh yeah. Happy birthday, Jewel.
Yeah, the Jeweler Sports birthday is today. So yeah, so shout out to the Jeweler Sports, Tiff. And shout out to everybody listening, man. Shout out to all the new listeners. Make sure you like, subscribe to the YouTube channel so we can get our everything through the YouTube universe. So that's all I got. What you got?
Man, I just want to shout out, man, to D Will again. He and his wife. Hope everything goes well for them. Whatever trying time they're facing right now. Hope it's something that they can get through. I know she's gonna be strong. So prayers up, SRT love to them. I'm gonna leave that right there, Big Home.
There you go. All right, before we leave, Big Home, I gotta ask you. I've been going through my prank phone calls, listening to Roy Woods Jr., Ricky Smiley, and Nephew Tommy. Who you think is the king of prank calls?
Hey man, I still Nephew Tommy to me, the ones that I've heard him do. I've heard Roy Wood too. I've heard Ricky, but man, the one when Nephew Tommy called that man and said that was his brother that dude was married to, and that was his wife. That took the cake for me. That was the one right there. That was it right there. That was it. So I'm going
Nephew Tommy getting up. Hey, listen, Roy Wood Jr. is a fool though. I'm talking about. Yeah, he's a fool. But you're right. Nephew Tommy probably done took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
But what I like about Roy is Roy disguises his voice to fit everything.
Yeah.
I mean, he called Barbara about that $5,800 check. And he said that he was Mr. Gazebo from Africa, from Nigeria. Oh man, I got to send that to you. You ain't heard, but listen, I got to send that to you.
All right, let me hear it.
Hey man, I'm telling you. Hey, when you hear that, you might change your mind about what I just asked you.
Okay.
So my last question for you is: do you think you can get phone pranked?
I won't say that I won't get phone pranked, but it's hard to get phone pranked when I don't answer the phone for any call that I don't know. So if it's a number I don't know, I ain't answering no way. So it's gonna be hard to prank me.
If you get a call, if you answer the phone, could they get you? I mean, it got to be something that touches you.
Yeah, it's got to be something that my guard is down. Yeah, my guard had to be down.
Okay.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. It might not be able to be aired, but you know, it is what it is. They might not be able to air that one.
For sure.
Yeah, Nephew Tommy, man, I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, they say Nephew Tommy is the king of phone pranks, but I'm going to put a poll out.
Yeah, he told that man that his brother was his wife. I thought I was going to die. Man, that was so funny.
Hey, you need to listen to the one where he said that he called the dude and said, your wife cheating on me and you.
I better check it out.
The other said, how she cheating on you? He was like, yeah, your wife cheating on me and you. I worked with her and I saw her go to lunch with another dude. I'm like, how you gonna be cheating on me? Oh my God. That was that would be
yeah.
And every time they phone prank a minister, pastor, or preacher, the cussing just
go right up out the door. Yeah.
Yeah, the cussing just go out the door, right? Yeah. So it is what it is, man. So that's crazy. But I had to get your opinion about that.
Oh yeah.
So it looked like we finna end it up. Give me about 5 minutes and then let's get on the phone with Slick and we'll top it up and see if we can get some picks in for tonight and go.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yes. So shout out to D Will, shout out to Harold Williams, and shout out to the Jeweler Sports Tiff. Happy birthday, Tiff. And you already know how we do it. All right, Han, let's get up out of here. Let's roll, bro.
Boogie, I'm headed home, baby.
This your main man, H.O. from Bankhead. R.I.P. Moms and Pops. R.I.P. BC. And if you love the show,
tell a friend.
And if you didn't,
come back and see us next Wednesday, 7 o'clock, baby.
You already know we out. Peace.